At ease.
Hey yo,
Hey
as you were.
ho, as you were, soldier. Uh wow. Can we throw him a curveball? It because I'm throwing myself one here on a Sunday,
we'll
but
we'll see how many people are paying attention.
we'll see. Uh I good or bad. We had a
Yeah,
date night last night.
as did I.
Wow. And the coincidence that it worked out perfectly and it was not, it wasn't us having a date.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not. It was my wife's birthday, and I took her out to dinner with her brother, who is her twin. So it was both their birthdays, which I was informed that they split their birthday, so they're both 28.
That's the
It's a
best part of a twin I've ever heard.
yeah, yeah. Just split the number right down the middle, and that's it.
The older we get, the more and more I appreciate that joke. I looked around the room. We went to a 50-year-old birthday party, and I looked around the room and I'm like, wow, there's some scary people here. Everybody has aged. I'm like, this is not good. I'm like, I oh, I
Yeah,
don't see it when I look in the mirror. It's that shock and awe when you go back in time, like, oh man, what happened? Clock
yeah.
mother father time just goes faster
Yep,
and faster.
yep.
Can you relate to what are we dealing with? May 18?
We're
5
May
5
18th already. Yeah,
how
I
are
got
we on
trying to fix my lights here.
the tail end of May? Like, what just happened? I feel like we just started May. I
Yeah,
feel like you were just wiping mud out of your toes, like, from a week ago.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, what
I
was
did finally wash my shoe. Well, Heidi washed my shoes today. So,
so the Beat the Creek mud is off.
yep, it's in Maryland's system now.
Okay. Washed away. Well, don't worry. If Don follows through, you'll be able to buy some shortly
Yeah,
if he ends up bottling up the Beat the Creek
yeah.
mud. How good is that? Um, well, yeah, turned into date night last night, and Friday was nothing but chaos with getting my daughter home from college. I felt like we just set the room up and we were breaking it
Yeah.
all down. The only good news I can share is that all the money went to good use. This kid came home with 3 A's and 2 B's.
Nice, nice.
So I'll tell you
So,
what,
so does the intelligence skip a generation?
it definitely did. It's,
Okay, just checking.
yeah, it did. She got the brains, the looks, which, hey, I will. It's our job to hand it on. Like,
Yep,
I don't need
yep,
it. I'm glad she got it.
yep.
So, honestly, it makes us feel way better when we know what we had to sacrifice to make this
Yeah,
happen. The trips, was 2 trips back to Kutztown because we did not plan. Um, we did not plan right. We were about
yeah,
halfway into it and realized we needed another car or another trip. And so we weren't gonna, we just had to
mm,
do another trip in all that rain. We were coming home and flooded roads everywhere.
yep,
It was a
yep.
disaster. So now her college dorm room is all over our dining room at the moment.
Just exploded. Ugh,
Exploded everywhere.
college
That
dorm.
that smell of teen spirit all over the dining room.
Ugh,
Oh,
mm,
well, then, the last thing I will say on a personal note, I've been holding this in. I think I did leak it to you around December, Christmas time. Santa was so kind to bring us tickets to the Metallica concert,
oh
and
yeah,
that
you did. Yeah.
and it felt like it was never gonna come, but it's actually this Friday.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 2-night show, no repeat weekend. We go
Ooh,
Friday, come home Saturday, and then we'll go back to the link again on Sunday night.
wow.
Different opening bands. Yeah, like, honestly,
Wow.
I'm getting too old
Well,
for this, but
yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
check it out.
Totally. And that's
Um,
Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial
Wow.
Day weekend, yes, so it's gonna be a little chaotic.
Yeah, you signed up for crazy on that one.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is what we do as dads. This is not for me. I will, I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited, but this was all for my
Yeah.
but, other than that, taking a turn back to the RC world, I know it's been a 3D printing festival of sorts as I've gone back, and I think the word of the week for me is consolidate. I have consolidated over time, we just start to these things pile up. The
Yeah.
trucks seem to multiply at night while you were asleep. You wake up the next morning, here's another one. So my upgrades tend to get dispersed unevenly across an array of trucks. My idea was time to downsize and consolidate. What can we do from each truck to try and bring them together to make one better truck?
Yeah.
So the word of the week for me right now has been consolidate. I think honestly, I've got through at least 3 or 4 of them. The point of this was went back to the Knights files, the old school, like just the simple roto pack.
Oh,
Um, they print completely different. Um, if it honestly, what you know what you're doing with that bamboo. Even the upgrade from an Ender 3 to the K1, the it
yeah.
just prints better.
Yeah.
I know it hot end and, the AMS and all the things that we've done, filaments have gotten better, but
Mhm.
honestly, when you hold an old Rotopack with the new one off of a new printer, I mean, it is
Yeah.
night
It's
and
night
day,
and day. Yep,
night and day.
for
It
sure.
like, you can actually read we all know James Knight puts the attention to detail. There's no reason a Rotopack has to have all those instructions and breakdown. Most files out there are not that detailed, but
Yeah.
you can actually start to read them now. So
Yeah.
I think in a way, the printers are actually starting to catch up to his files
Yeah.
out in a way. So
Yeah, I
that's
can see that. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, he was almost ahead of his time with the designs that he was putting out there. Little rivets and the little screws that you would have never have seen before. We were coming up in a world of Minecraft-like printers that were
Yeah.
squared edges
A
and
good way to
very
explain it.
crude, but
Yeah.
they were very
Yeah.
crude edges, squared off, Minecraft-like, and now we get to appreciate the
Yeah.
detail.
I found a whole box of 3D printed parts as I'm getting ready to move and clean out stuff. And I'm looking at them and I'm like,
Wow.
do I keep it or don't I? Um, and the quality made it pretty easy decision.
To
Like, yeah, they can go. I can do that better now. So yeah, getting rid of some of that older stuff, some of the stuff that
86.
I've purchased over the years that at the time it was like, wow, this is impressive. Now it's like I can do that better. So I just purge stuff that I don't necessarily need in my life right now.
Well, you're
Um,
already making chaos as it is. When you have a 3D printer running the amount of time that it is, misprints come off that are just not good enough to sell. Then you end up with this box of,
yeah,
good enough but not good enough, and those things
yeah,
accumulate. Then the scraps, and yeah,
yeah. I don't even call them blems anymore. I just call them missed opportunities. But I try and use what I can. So if it's something for me and I can live with it, I might keep it or just say, you know what, good enough, character wise. But you know, I don't typically sell blem items. I just don't want them out there because I know I can do better. It's not, the price of the filament. I'm not trying to recoup that. It's I'll never get the time back that it took to make a bad part. So just let her go.
and sometimes it's not even the blem. Sometimes you're just tinkering with a size issue.
Yeah,
Well, let me just scale this. The point of it was you are accumulating boxes of this stuff. You do
yeah,
not need to be keeping around old stuff. That,
yep, yep,
like you said, as long as you've got access to the file,
yeah,
might as well redo it now with these newer
yep.
printers. You've already blown my mind with that TPU trick with your optic. I mean, Dude, that
Yeah,
is
and
like some game-changing stuff right there.
yeah, I would show it to you, but it's all packed up.
It's on your Instagram though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is
You
on
have
my
yeah,
IG. Yeah,
probably while you're talking, I'm gonna pull up your IG
yeah,
just so we can see. I mean, when you take that panel and it
mhm,
already looks amazing, and you
mhm.
tweak it, like what just happened?
Yeah, yeah,
Come watch it bend back. Oh, you've
yeah,
you've gone from
and
the window net to actually printing a
yeah,
panel.
the colors in that filament range in that brand in the bamboo TPU for AMS, there's good colors. I mean, I have the green is like day glow green, um, and it just looks phenomenal. I have the blue, the yellow, white, black, and gray, and it looks fantastic. The gray is kind of like a primer series, so you can it's a good base color for paint, and you can actually paint that TPU with Krylon Fusion paint, the 2X. Don't use the 5X. The 2X is it really bonds to it really well. Or if you want to use other flexible automotive paints like bumper paint or something like that, it'll stick to it. I'll just kind of wipe it down with some silver Scotch Brite
Yep.
and paint it. It sucks right into it. So
S is there any need to put down that flexible paint first, and then you could go to the 5X on top?
mm,
Does that
the you need the flexible paint. It has to have that agent in it so it doesn't crack.
crack?
So it's not like a Lexan body where you can go over it after it's paint keyed with PS55 clear.
So
Like
you understood
it
where I was going. I've seen people take this trick of
yeah.
getting that first bond layer to the
Mhm.
Lexan, and then the second coat on top. You can cheat
Yeah.
it. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be a poly paint.
Yeah. This stuff is like painting a car bumper. So it has to have a flux agent in it.
And, yeah, I literally buy that stuff that says bumper trim paint.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. Yeah.
um
Bumper trim paint's perfect for it. Maybe even a plastic. I haven't tried it. Maybe even a plastidip, something that remains
okay.
flexible.
Yep.
Something along that line may work. No guarantees, but I know the Fusion 2X works. But yeah, it really is for the optic and that body panel set. It really is a nice solution. You know, it's a basher panel. Um, you know, you want your pretty panels or whatever. Like you can do a set in TPU and really still run it hard without worrying about it breaking.
How about for the dirt bike for that
Yeah,
enduro
perfect, perfect. I did a couple of the
fender?
fender sets for the Promoto,
Oh,
the front fender, the rear fenders, perfect for that. And again, you can paint match it or do it in color. Ring a ding ding a ding a ding.
oops, that
That's what the
doesn't happen.
fox says. Hey, we got Raymond and
Oh,
Tyrone in here.
I
So
forgot even to jump over here to the comments.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you
it's
for
okay.
keeping that
Yeah,
open.
thanks for
Uh,
joining us, guys.
yeah, well, we
Um,
know, Tyrone's West Coast.
yeah,
Uh, he's on that 3-hour time difference.
yeah, it's lunch. It's lunchtime for Tyrone. So
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna be dealing with more of a East Coast, West Coast kind of vibe here. Uh,
definitely.
and I kind of thought as there's a little sacrifice in the time difference that we're gonna have to work with. But I'm thinking on the upside of this, it's gonna benefit it a little bit better. Just between the things that you're connected to still or now on the west side. I think this could
Mhm.
help the
Yeah,
vibe, the yin and the yang and the East Coast, West Coast thing.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
the
Bring
West Coast does not know what is coming to them. I will tell you that. You guys
yeah,
better get ready.
getting the scale on. Yeah, it's like it's getting real now. A little bit of what I got going on is I'm actively engaged in boxing all of my RC stuff. It doesn't look like it from my backdrop right now, but there's a lot of empty drawers and a lot of empty desks. But getting all that stuff packed up, Tuesday, I'm headed west for a long trip, couple 3 days. Headed out to Arizona for the first trip, taking the Baja Beetle full size on a trailer and a U-Haul truck, and getting set up out there, getting the house, getting those responsibilities taken care of. So yeah, I'll be in Phoenix this time next week, or not Phoenix, Bullhead this time next week. And yeah, hopefully I have internet. Maybe I can do something. But yeah.
You let Phoenix slip. How far away are we from Phoenix?
We're a ways away from Phoenix. I got to go through Phoenix. It's about 4 hours ish.
Okay, west of Phoenix?
Yeah, I'm on the
North?
west side, northwest side of Arizona, hour and a half east of Vegas.
Okay, perfect. Wow, it's a great spot, dude.
Yeah, and Harvey's on here. Yeah, big love from Bullhead RC. So yeah, yeah, I'll be out there. If you don't have anything to do, I need help unloading a truck on Memorial Day weekend of all times. But yeah, it'll be a fun journey, and get things set up in the new casita, new studio.
You've got to be what, 2-day trip easily, if
3.
not
I'm
3.
thinking 3.
Okay.
It's a U-Haul with a car trailer and a car. So
you're not breaking any records this
no, and I'm not looking forward to doing any of that. So I'm thinking, 3 days ish, 55, 60 mile an hour max. So yeah, it's 2,407 miles.
Wow. And you're hoping you are driving into, prime weather. You have no idea what you're gonna run into.
Yeah, I'm taking a northern route, so I'm going through Ohio into, and then headed south toward Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And then Oklahoma City is pretty much a straight out cross.
Well, you've got the right mindset for it. There is no records to be broken. It's kind of enjoy it as much as you can. Enjoy the new chapter that has begun.
Yeah.
But if we can bring it back full circle, I kind of started out there with the old files that James had available. That kind of left the door open for us to talk files, because the world of printers are catching up with these designers that have popped up. So where does YouMagine fall into this? I know you got to see it at Beat the Creek. Hemi Storm was there with his setup. How far did he take it? Did he, I'm curious to know, was he given a spiel?
Yeah.
Was there a sign up?
So,
do you need to be a monthly member? I've got so many questions.
Yeah. So YouMagine has started as the place to go for RC, for radio controlled files. So if you're a designer and you want to put your files out there for sale, so other people can enjoy them, YouMagine is the place to go to host those. There's been, you have a ton of places that you can host files. You can do it on Etsy. You can do it on My Mini Factory. You can do it on a bunch of platforms, right? So there's a search engine called Yegi that searches 3D files. It specifically searches those, and it gives you results across all of those platforms. And one of those platforms is YouMagine. And YouMagine was designed under My Mini Factory. It's the same login. If you have a My Mini Factory, you can use that login to get into YouMagine. So it's built on
My Mini Factory gone now, or
no,
it did not get dissolved?
Still there.
Okay.
Still there. This is just the RC side of it.
Okay.
So like a subreddit maybe.
So is YouMagine RC only? Is that?
Yes. Yes, it's
Oh,
specifically for RC, and the good
okay.
thing about that is there's a lot of designers out there that model models, and then people misunderstand that just because it's 10th scale doesn't mean that it's RC, or it's 16th scale. It doesn't mean it's RC or made for RC. The YouMagine site is made for RC. So if you want a body set, that would be the first place you would go to look, because that's where they're specific to RC. Yeah, and the the premise is to get the RC community behind YouMagine, and that's where you would go. And I should preface this with, it's not just surface vehicles. It is airplanes, it's construction, it's anything RC, boats, Formula One, if you want, um,
But
all that stuff.
I think
Yeah.
you're doing a great job explaining it, because you hit on a couple of things. For anyone listening, Jeremy started with that Yegi. I
Mhm,
think that was an extremely little search engine to
mhm.
connect you with files that you weren't used to seeing, posted. Some, more of a deep dive. It was a great way, sift through the algorithm and let them sort out files that you were looking for.
Yeah.
But it was clearly connecting us. Some of these files I'm looking at are brand new. Like, I've never seen them
Mhm.
before, but there's some that I've stumbled across. This is amazing to see them all in this one spot. You're familiar with this guy,
Actually,
Ahead.
both of
Ahead.
those. Yeah, Ahead RC.
You
Um, I
you're
use
familiar with
those
them.
files. I use his files for the Scale Builders Guild build
Yes.
along with the Volvo, and they were fantastic files, and they were made to fit an RC platform. So you could download files specific to
A
a TRX-4,
TRX4.
a Vanquish, an SCX-10-3, common platforms. It makes drivetrain and wheelbase easy, basically, because these files were designed around those vehicles specific. But
This
when you buy
one's
that file, like that exact 303 or 306, when you buy that file, you get all the files. You get them for all of those platforms. So
Oh,
it opens up some other interesting things. So I've already built one on a 10.3 or a Vanquish based chassis using 10.3 axles. So now I can, if I come across a used TRX4 platform that might be just a roller or a slider, I could easily build another one and for that platform without having to rebuy the file. So I have all those files now. They're, I purchased them. So it opens up some different categories for builders. They can do variations. You can buy add-on files to this file for if you wanted to do like an expedition truck with a full, motorhome style rear bed to it. You can just buy those add-on files because you already have the platform.
this is, yeah, absolutely insane.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
the detail, uh, and Ahead, he did the very first line I was looking at was, he gives you the printer specs that would
yes,
make your life simple.
yes.
Um,
So very
that
much like,
happens often,
yeah,
where you're like, "Shit, I can't fit this on the bed."
right. So very much like what James Knight does at Knight Customs is, he gives you the print ready
The
set.
G code already
G
done.
code, it's you load it in, you set your filament, and you print it. All the angles are figured out for you for best result, and they're optimized, is what I like to say. So, yes, Ahead does that style. Others don't, and it's just it's a designer printer maturity thing. Like when you figure out how these things, you're thinking about your final layer line, where it lands, and how to orient it. And I like the challenge of trying to figure it out. I also like separating the parts into colored beds. You know, these are my black parts, these are my orange parts, these are my gray parts, these are TPU, these are PLA, these are PTG, like whatever. And that's how I organize them for myself. and that's the printer's prerogative. And you know how things print best for me on my X1 with the settings and the filaments that I use aren't necessarily yours. That it might not work on your machine that way, or you're using different material, manufacturer material. So that's the printer prerogative. So some people just don't take the time to say, okay, here's your bamboo itemized file set, print ready. So they don't necessarily take the time to do that for mass marketing. They do it as more of a designer enthusiast role, which is appreciated, because disassembling some of those files that are already done is sometimes a pain in the butt. So like if I want to separate parts on a build plate for different material use, I have to go back to the original files. I have to look at how he had them organized or optimized to get all the angles set. So yeah. So now going ahead to what I think is the new hot is print your own RC. Like the full RC, other than the mechanical. I mean, you can go all the way down the road to gear sets and mechanicals, but getting that interim, you have all the frame rails, you have all the link dimensions, all the hardware is listed out for you, all the files are there, and you can simply go on Amazon, order a set of generic axles, order a generic transmission that file calls out for. It gives you all the specs, and you basically print 90% of an RC car at home for pennies on the dollar. A base camp right now is what, 360, something like that.
Yeah.
And you get a lot for that. Don't get me wrong, but when you print, a unique RC, and it's mine because I these are the colors I had or wanted or used, and I had full control over that. And I printed this for less than $25 in material. And that's TPU, PETG, PLA, all that stuff. So I got to choose my own adventure when it came to what it looks like. I didn't have to buy another body set. I didn't have to repaint anything. I didn't have to, whatever. But it's gotten to the point now where it makes it, yeah. And I'm hyper OCD, so I lay everything out. And if you notice in that picture, there's one missing frame rail because I accidentally printed two of the same. But they're like, I could lay it all out just like a kit. And Elvis RC, the designer of this particular, he has like 7 or 8 of these style tractors that aren't all the same. They're different wheelbases. They're different looks. But he has videos on how to build them that I can't duplicate. Even on my channel, there's no point in saying this is how you build this, because he already did it, and he did it so well that it'll stand the test of time. So if you need help building one of these, you just go to his video, just watch the video. Like I'm sitting there with a mouse, play, pause, play, pause. He calls out the hardware. He calls out all that stuff that you need for each step as you go along. So it's an interactive instruction manual that is just absolutely fantastic. This was a pure joy to build from start to finish. And I say finish because I haven't run it yet. I still have electronics to put in it, but I kind of ran out of time. So I might have to, it might be something I do in Arizona is actually finish this up.
What was left?
So I got an ESC to install.
Okay.
And a receiver. That's it. That's all I got left.
Wow.
Just kind of ran out of time, and I got to pack tools. So it's at that point now. But yeah, this is the 330 tractor crawler.
Okay, and this is the one. This is the file.
This is the one that I printed. Yeah,
Okay.
that's this.
Okay.
So all in with, I picked up a set of Mius portal axles for a 10-2 off of Amazon. Picked up a I guess it's a
Is he
portal
sitting
transmission,
on?
compact portal trans.
Is this
Uh,
portal here?
that's a
In his,
portal. Yeah.
on his.
Yeah, it's servo on axle portal. So it keeps
Okay.
everything nice and simple, 4-link. And it hides the electronics, which is which is fantastic.
And what
So
size shock?
it's you
70.
can use 70 to 90 millimeter. I
Oh,
had some laying around, some RC 4-wheel drive cheapies. I had some drive shafts laying around that were, in stock. They're just Vanquish Incision drive shafts that fit it perfectly. But all in all, my Amazon bill for the electronics, minus the servo, was, I think, $103. So that's a link set, axles, motor, transmission, all, at basically $100. You could probably do a little shopping and get it lower.
right. Or you might even have some of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. If you have old trucks laying around or old
Yep.
take out electronics,
Yep.
are perfect for these. So if you've upgraded your other trucks, you have the drive shafts. If you upgraded the electronics, you have the stock kit electronics that came out of, whatever. It's a great way to reuse them. If you upgraded to aluminum axles and you still have the plastic housings, then you're just buying internals. So it just makes it, you can make something out of nothing and it be really, really good looking and cool.
And I know you don't like to brush any politics into this, but in the world of tariffs and what we're dealing with, people's
Mhm.
budgets have changed.
Yeah.
And I think you teed this up perfectly last week when you said to me, if you're saving money right now, if budget
Mhm.
is an issue.
Mhm.
I mean, this is your out. You are
Yeah.
building a sick ass truck.
Yeah.
One,
It's
it's
a
a
head
one.
turner.
It
Like
is.
it's such a departure from what we're used to seeing, that it really is a head turner for
It,
for a little bit of money. Uh,
so
and I would challenge, our viewers like Harold, who just got a printer, or, other people out there that just want to do something different. Like, you probably have enough parts laying around in your RC life that your cost would be pretty low. You're to get a roll of filament, like, you don't have to print it out of PETG. You can print it out of bamboo or
yeah, PLA.
PLA.
Yeah.
But like what I did with the fuel tank, you'll
Yep.
notice it's multiple colors, right?
Yep.
The same with the exhaust. It's multiple colors. I took that little Sunlu um, uh, splicer for
Yep.
filament, and I just took all my scraps, the rolls that have less than 100 grams on them. I just took all of those and just melted them all into one spool, and that's what I printed it with. So it was a waste saver, because I was going to throw it away anyhow, and I got a usable part out of it that I can paint, I can detail, I can do whatever I want with it, but I didn't throw it away. I made something cool. It's an exhaust system. So, I mean, I'm going to eventually weather it down anyway. So why not just use my scrap?
Can you show it again?
Yeah.
Like, what color did it turn out?
So it's just variations of lines. Like, the exhaust is white, silver, black, and gray. And it actually has a nice little look to it, because the way I oriented it on the bed, I was thinking about it. So where it ended at the pipe, it started um, at the actual outlet collector.
Yep.
So it matched. So it doesn't look like it was just, it stopped. It looks like it continues on, like it got white tipped or whatever. and the barrel is, it looks weird because there's more
Yeah,
white on this end than there is on this end,
but
but both end caps are gray because that's where the spool started. That was on the bed.
I would have never known if you
Yeah,
didn't say you did it. So
yeah.
cool.
It was, happy accidents, right? So if you mix those filaments and with one of those splicers,
Yep.
if you do shorter runs, now I was using like less than 100 grams, so I would
Yep.
get a pretty long run of a color. But if you really took the time and spliced them up, you could have a mesmerizing rainbow effect.
I
Um,
misunderstood what you were saying that you did. I thought it was the one that took the little pieces, melted it down into that concoction of
no,
like a
no,
tie-dye looking effect.
no,
Not that. This
no,
is taking 2
just butt connects.
strands,
Yep, yep.
splice them together,
Actually,
and it
well, I
works.
think I already
And
packed
we're
it.
dealing with PLA to PLA, I'm assuming. You're
Well,
not doing
this was
PLA.
this is PETG,
Oh,
but
oh,
you
or okay, fine.
yeah, the little machine has settings for like 8 different filament types.
It
So it
would
has
mix
different
one
heat
to the
ranges
other,
to bond it.
and you would? Would you literally ETG to PLA or
No, it
no?
has no,
We're
you keep them
trying
the
to
same.
stay the same.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm just saying if you have a bunch of PLA laying around, you can
bingo.
just join that, or a bunch of PETG or a bunch of TPU, like you can join all those so you're not, just less waste.
Well,
That
this is
that
what I
little
end up with. Well, this is what I have,
yeah,
is these spools
yeah.
that are not enough to
Mhm.
run, like, I'm afraid it's not gonna
Yeah,
finish anything.
right.
So I end up with this crap laying around
Yep.
where, it's not enough filament to
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, just fuse those together with that little, it's like a little $20 machine off of Amazon. It's a Sunlu or eSun or whatever it is. It's a splicer. If I think about it, I'll go back and link it to this video. But
Okay.
it's really simple to use. It just heats up. You put the little pieces in there in a little sleeve, and it melts them together, and then you just wind it onto a spool, dry it as one, and then print it. And that's your, you know, if you're going to paint it, who gives a shit? Like,
Yeah.
you'll have a usable part, that, it just saves you money.
I think it's awesome. I need one.
Yeah. And it just, I would consider using, all one manufacturer on a spool. Like I use all
Okay.
bamboo, so I'm not worried about it. Like it's just easy for me. Um, and just put it together. And if you want to print something like this off of the YouMagine site, to be even more unique, like if you don't care, just, you know you can just print the parts as you go. You collect the parts up, plan out your build, put it all in a box, like make your own kit. Um, and be like, hey, I know I need a set of portal axles, so I'll be on the look for them at a swap meet. I'll pick up a set, for next to nothing, and just collect parts over time, and print your parts over time. And eventually, maybe for Christmas, you have a nice build. But the
I
me,
like you said, it's just a head turner. It's something
yeah,
completely different.
mhm.
And YouMagine is not just Elvis, and it's not just a head.
Right.
There's a ton of
Yeah, there's a
people
ton of
here.
creators on
We
there.
just happened to highlight 2 of
Yeah,
them,
yep,
period. But a ton of great things, and you could literally take a hell of a dive. Wow,
yeah,
there's so much.
yeah, and even as you go through them, there's so many unique things out there, to try that, fits in our RC heart, that, hey, if I wanted to do an airplane, maybe there's one on there that I can do without much initial investment, or a boat. Um, you know, there's a lot of boats on there actually, and with the way the materials are going, if you choose wisely what you print it out of, like you could have a real solid, nice boat that, you don't have a ton of money into, plus the
Oh,
instructions on how to build it. So it's really coming around, and I'm really chuffed with the YouMagine, with that scheme of how they present their parts. Um, if you've ever explored around on like the free ones, you'll get some questionable designs that nobody else has ever printed. They might get 5 or 6 downloads that you can see with no success pictures, which scares
Correct.
me, right? Because you don't know what you're getting for the
There's a
$4,
whole
five
lot of
dollars.
headache.
Yeah, you're almost money thievery at that point. You're getting an unusable download that isn't what you wanted. Um, so these, I've seen them. I've built them now. I know that you can finish these, and there's confidence there. So if that's something I look for people that sell files and say, "Hey, you can build this." Like, can you? Show me a picture. Show me it
I-
running.
Is YouMagine hanging their hat on that as like this is a screening of sorts, that they are
Yeah,
only uploading quality designers that
I,
vetted
yeah.
parts?
I think they are.
They're
I think they're discerning it at minimum on who and what they're uploading, because I haven't come across anything that's been questionable on there. So
the
I
quality seems
yeah,
just
yeah. And like the optic, the Porrigen hood set that Jersey Scaler is doing is on YouMagine, and he constantly updates his files. So he, as he improves, he does another version. And if you buy it, you don't have to buy the new version. It just becomes part of the collection that you paid into.
I
And
like
it's a
when they
great
do
way for designers to get feedback, because there is a whole forum on there where you can communicate with the designer and say, "Hey, can you do this?" Or, "Hey, have you thought of that? This isn't working for me," or this particular thing, the screw hole is, it's a
oh,
blind and I can't get a screw into it or something. You can communicate, which is awesome. So,
yeah, so boats, construction,
mhm.
drift, there is something for everyone here at if you can
Yeah,
imagine it, you imagine is where you
yeah.
want to be.
Hence the name. You
Genius.
imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
I can I can
Can you
imagine an
imagine
awful lot.
downloading and printing your own RC car? Yep, I can, because I did it.
And
So it,
it did break it didn't break the internet, but it
no.
turned heads at Beat the Creek,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Was this at the YouMagine booth?
Well,
It
there wasn't a booth per se. Um,
okay,
Chris was there, Hemi Storm was there,
okay.
and he's a backer of it, and he's looking for these things and talking to people about the experience. Uh, you know, they're data collecting. I see a lot of that, and any good company, I'll stand behind a company that collects data, usable data, to improve themselves. It's it's not a self-licking ice cream cone that say, here it is and this is what it is, use it or don't use it. I like people that are making improvements as they go. So it makes it really easy for me to get behind it. Um, and obviously it works. Um,
Like 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 a Sorka with a living rule set.
yeah. I'm, this time last week, well, during our show last week, I talked about doing this, and it
Yeah,
exists.
yeah, yeah,
Like like
and,
within a week.
honestly, like, yeah, and you've been sitting on this for 6 of the days, so I
Yeah. Yeah, I assembled it I assembled it on
Tues
Tuesday.
yeah, and if you think
So
we're lying, go to his Instagram.
yeah,
The
yeah, look
proof
at the
is in
dates
the
on the Instagram. Yeah, those
it
were the
came to
dates they were
life
loaded.
that quick.
Yep, yep. And this particular, this designer Elvis, he has a fan page on Facebook. Like, if you want to go see what other people did in other countries with his designs, you can go over there and get some inspiration, um, which is awesome because that's a following. That's a cult following. If you get a fans page on Facebook for something that unique, and there's hundreds of users, that's pretty good.
Oh
That's pretty
yeah.
good. Yeah.
It was Knights Custom like that
Yeah.
brought this following, making file designers cool,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
he opened that doorway. Um, so I definitely like the fact that there's video uploads and
Mhm.
step by step, and you're not left high and dry.
Yeah.
Because I bought plenty of files that I can't use.
Yeah. Or it's like a, Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's a sketchy video, some bad hardware,
How
or,
the hell is this supposed to go together?
these are one of the things I ran into on the downloads. Pure, just saying it out loud. All the links for the parts were Banggood or AliExpress type websites, Temu, to get the axles, to get the transmission, to get those things. Well, our current state right now, not state like Maryland, but the current state of what's going on, those aren't the sites that we would use here in the States. We use Amazon. Even though it originates from the same place, like our cheap bet for fast delivery is Amazon. So I found these Mius axles, these portal nylons, for $80 on Amazon, and they're fantastic. They're just as good as anything else. Mius has a good name, good track record. I even got all the replacement parts for the hard parts inside of them, $16. This is all the axles and all the gears, all the portal gears. So I have spare parts. But to update on where to get these things for people in the States, like Amazon is the place to go. So, I gave links to what I used back to the designer, and he's considering making a US, parts list that we, you could go on and hit it, and it's going to take you to Amazon US, which is, again, fantastic.
You avoided saying tariff in that entire spiel.
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I had to just drop it
Yeah. Good job. Good job.
there. If you're not going to go there, I'm
Well,
just gonna set it up.
I'm taking
You
the angle.
navigated that so well.
I'm taking the angle of what's fast, right? Amazon's fast.
Love it.
I've ordered from Temu, and my miniature couch came in 3 weeks. So it's, it's relative, right? So I wanted to build this quickly. I went on Amazon, and that's what I found, and delivered and built within a 7-day period, because that's how my mind works. I got to get it done. Yes, it's the Sunlu filament splicer. Sorry, Harold. So it's, it is a better way to do it. The hardware, it's all called out on a sheet. So if you take that hardware sheet and you look through what you have, like I did, you look through all of that stuff, and if you don't have it, K&K Hardware, you could send him that entire list, copy paste, send it to him. He would build you a kit. I still have to talk to Mike Kirby about doing kits for these cars. I just need more models, so he has an Elvis RC section that says, hey, if you're building, the 330 tractor, this is the kit you want. This is that kit, which would be fantastic.
There you're tiptoeing on the question I had. The Dust Runner version basically looked like it was sitting on different tires. Is it that simple, or is
there's differences?
Okay.
The frame rails, the suspension, the things like that. I'm sure there's some carryover to it, but he tries to keep that good, clean design to cover the chassis as much as he can. So some of the hardware is going to be a little different.
But having this parts list sorted out like this, you know exactly what you're going in after, and we're not all going to lay it out on a topographical display mat and bagging everything, but it makes
Somewhat of a
life.
maniac. I
Yeah.
got it.
I am never gonna delete that photo for as long as I live. That that image of you laying it all out
I
is
do that.
that is Jeremy
That
Kilburn in a word, right
Yeah, I typically do the same thing for all custom builds. Like I'll have all the parts laid out, and I'll do it multiple times as I collect parts. Like I have to put it away because I need a table space, and I put it in one tub. And then when I collect more parts, I'll do it again and see where else, what else I got to get. But yeah, it's the way my brain works. I got to see it.
now. It's priceless, absolutely priceless. So we will be able to see it in person. I'm assuming in person you'll be able to touch and feel it at Blue Rocks. I'm hoping.
It it depends.
Okay.
It
You
depends.
you're not
But
living a life right now of out of a box, but that
I'm,
stage is coming for you
I'm
where
getting
you'll
close.
be living out of boxes very
Yeah,
soon. So,
all of this is going to Arizona in the next 48 hours.
holy
So it,
shit.
yeah. So if you want to see this in person, maybe Proline by the
Oh,
Fire might be your
okay.
better bet.
Wha- Yeah, I was gonna nudge you to just print another one quick.
And that is something. So that's another
One painted,
thing.
one printed only,
So there's a thing, right? Um, so if I wanted to travel and say I wanted to come back for Blue Rocks and I wanted this thing here, right? So I have options. I can either take it with me on an airplane, I can put it in my luggage, or I can have a true builder experience and just collect up all the parts, print all the parts, and build it on site. Because it's possible to do. Um, I mean, it really is. So if I was going to
you
travel
could
internationally,
print it
maybe I
on
wouldn't
site
assemble it.
and build it. Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't assemble it. I would just wait till I got to where I got, and it's easier to transport, safer, it's less fragile. Um, I'm just saying.
Where's your car at? No, it's in this bag right here.
Yeah, it's in this
Uh,
baggie. It's a small box.
I'm gonna print it.
I'm going to finish it when I get there.
That's
But it's
wow. That's kind of wow. You opened up a doorway there of how you could travel with a lot more RC cars. You could just start condensing. Build them when you get there.
turkey. I made my lunch order.
Ooh, make it two. Turkey with mayo?
No, I did not call you a turkey.
Yeah, I thought that's where
Yeah.
it was going.
Yeah, it was like leftovers from last night or leftovers from the night before. So I went with the night before. Hot turkey sandwich and gravy fries.
Yum. I feel like I'm at
But
a diner.
yeah,
Yum. I
so
didn't ask you what you got last night for dinner, though. I am curious.
we did Japanese steak, Japanese steakhouse. So they cook it and they
Now,
throw it at you.
I totally regret asking now. Oh,
Yeah,
so like a hibachi. They're
hibachi.
flipping shrimp in, into
Yeah,
your.
they're throwing things at you. Yeah.
Was he a good chef? Did he have the
It was good.
skit like with the? Sometimes they
Yeah,
bring out the firemen to pee on the volcano of
yeah,
onion,
the
the whole
whole deal, the
spiel.
egg in the hat. It's the
Nice.
same everywhere you
Yep.
go. It's the same
Okay.
script.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
It's. I even know what's coming, and I still laugh. Oh,
Yep. And there were some kids at the table because it's a shared, 15 people or
yeah,
whatever they
right,
cram at
right.
a table.
Yeah.
There's a kid there, so they light that place on fire, and the kid's like, ah, and then the choo choo, ding 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 ding. Yeah,
I always get
same
stuck.
thing.
I always get stuck at the table with the allergic to eggs, the peanut allergy, the whole nine. Like,
Yeah,
oh man,
the lady and the guy sitting next to me on the corner.
yeah.
So we're like sharing leg space because we're at the corner, and they're like the usual, and and it
Dude,
and that order was valid because it was like double this, extra egg, broccoli only.
oh,
Like
wow.
I was like, come here often?
Oh my goodness.
Like the usual at,
Wow.
a place with 100 menu items. And I was like,
That's hilarious. The
all right,
double egg and all that's
the whole
priceless.
deal.
That
Yeah.
is perfect.
Like
My
dude
kids are
fried
like,
a whole separate egg, and
just oh,
when he was handing out the stuff, like that egg got mixed into his stuff and put on his plate.
oh.
And I was like, wow, okay.
See, I was
I go there
never
like
that
once
guy.
every
Yeah,
6 months. I
right.
don't
I get what I get, and I eat what I got, and
yeah,
that's the end
yeah,
of it. But my
yeah,
kids are always like, "Dude, I wish it would have given me more egg."
yeah.
They're convinced that there's something different about the eggs on a hibachi grill. I'm telling you, the
Nope.
same egg.
Same egg. Same egg.
All right, so we're not locked in for seeing this one at the Recon, but I can almost smell the walking tacos as
Mhm.
we get closer and closer. Are you still teetering, or we're gonna get you at the Recon?
So
Is it still in the air?
like this house, we signed the sales contract today to put it on the market. So depending on how fast it sells, I'm either homeless or I have to go to Arizona.
Wow. And
So I still got the move to arrange, the
okay,
household goods shipment, because there's obviously
regardless,
more than this in this house. So that has to get arranged within the next 30 days, and then we'll see where we're at.
and no matter what was happening, it was going to be a given. You were going to be going through hell at whenever, like that time frame. Either you were here or you're not. Like
Yeah,
you're it's the busiest like part of what you guys are dealing with. I
yeah,
knew you coming to that event was going to be at a sacrifice.
yeah,
Uh, of a
yeah,
large scale for you to be at that event. Like,
yeah,
dude, I
and
it's not
it's
for lack of things to do. You have a list
yeah,
this
yeah,
long of things I should be doing right now and not 4 days at a campground.
correct. Yeah, priorities and responsibilities, right?
You're right.
So it's it's a thing. I do want to go. I do want to go to Blue Rocks, but if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards. I can't force it or delay the sell of a home
Right.
to go to Blue Rocks for 4 days. But I'm not giving up my cabin. I'm not giving up any of that stuff because
Yet.
life has a way of saying you need to be there then,
Okay.
um,
Well,
and you need to listen. Like
and
if you force it, shit goes bad. So,
and if you gave up the cabin the week before, like
oh yeah,
somebody would take it in a
oh yeah.
heartbeat.
I have a
Um,
line waiting.
already waiting. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Once you go, people are ready to jump in your grave. It's no, you don't have to worry about that.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's a thing. So we got to figure it
Okay.
out. But I'll definitely be at Proline.
Right, in my backyard now. Like,
The laborious 2 hour drive to
yeah,
Horseman's.
oh,
Um, yeah,
oh
I think I'll find
gosh.
myself there for for crawlers and coffees and stuff like that.
Oh,
Like I'll be
dude,
hitting those
your
spots.
life is about to change.
Yeah, I'll be
Um,
at the Reefs monthly events. I'm sure I'll make that a routine. Um, like there's and that's kind of why I'm going too. I want to be able to
a
be
part
at those
of
places.
yeah. I mean, you're never gonna knock the East Coast. There was always cool shit to do here, but there
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
heartbeat.
yeah,
There is a heartbeat that pounds very loud from the West Side. Uh,
yep,
you
yep,
can hear it. Uh, so
yeah,
no doubt
yep.
it's exciting. This new chapter will open up opportunity.
Hmm.
And hey, we'll get updates from you here weekly. We'll hear the West Coast side of what's
Yeah,
happening.
absolutely. And there's still, I'm printing a major project while I'm moving. So I have a large client project that I'll actually reveal on the CowRC show this evening at 8. So
Oh,
shameless plug. I will be on there at 8 o'clock tonight as well.
okay.
East Coast.
for the Cal Tech Tip
Yep.
show.
Yep. I'll be on there, going over some new product with them, doing some waterproofing, and yeah, it'll be a good time tonight. So
Are you when you like giving a conformal coating lesson of
yes,
sorts?
I'm gonna teach Tyler Slane how to waterproof his junk. Not his junk, but his junk.
Junk.
Yeah,
Like junk. Yeah.
like junk.
Yeah. Get your mind out of the gutter. Well, no, it's kind of appropriate. I think, can you keep it generic enough that we're not focused on Tyler's junk, that we could
Yeah. And the goal, there's goals with those tech tips, right? So
okay.
if you don't watch the Cal, if you're not familiar with that format,
The goal is to sell Cal product.
well, the goal is to teach people how to use the product.
That they
And
bought.
it's instead of saying, what's the application for this and a bunch of emails, be like, hey, go to tech tip, 42 and watch that video. And we explain every aspect of that product on that video. And this will be that for waterproofing.
Okay.
So if you ever wanted to know how to waterproof something like that, that'll be the show that you refer to.
Okay.
That'll be the tech tip.
So if somebody is watching and they have a Spectrum receiver that they need to know how to safely conformal coat, we can try and specifically focus on the questions coming in. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We had stuff submarine last week, and Dreamer had to do the old 1-2 carry out the truck. That walk. He was not pissed. He was,
and that's what we
angry.
want to avoid.
Is that walk out, and it was a quick little last minute assemble, throw in a stock receiver before it had been waterproofed, and it was one of those deals where the receiver is sitting out in the open, not in a box, no gasket. So it was a perfect scenario. And then we got held up in a video photo shoot as the thing is sitting in scale water, submarined, and until we went to go again, and
and no go.
It's no go.
No go.
Anybody got any Tupperware and rice around that I could, try this out?
And it's full of irony, right? So I'm the East Coast guy that, I'm the waterproofing guy. I've been doing waterproofing classes for years, and I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to move from waterproofing to dustproofing.
But the good news is there's a lot of crossover and similarity, so I don't think you're going to need to change any technique.
Nah, I'll be okay, and I still like to run trucks in water, so there'll always be water.
Trying to get them wet, be waterproof. Yeah, it's just the times that you're actually using it and flexing it.
Well, I mean, like people like Brock LaRouche, he travels with Reef. He travels to the East Coast. He brings trucks.
He better be weatherproof if you're going to travel.
Choose wisely. Is that one actually waterproof? Because there's water here.
It's not on the tip of their mind to be doing that step. So wow. All right. Well, we will tune in tonight for the Cal RC Tech Tip. We will support Tyler and follow up on your shameless plug. We will check in on you there to see what is new, and we'll go from there. So right now we're just gonna play it by ear. We'll take it week by week and figure out. We'll adjust as this thing plays out. The new chapter. As this book is written, we will we'll turn a page each day.
I want to highlight this comment from Harold, because this is something that my wife and I have been talking about for quite some time. Like, we're going to go out there, and it's going to be the first time it ever snows in Bullhead City, Arizona. It'll be, they had flash floods in that area last week. they had the heaviest rains, and all the scenarios went, you know, the municipality in Fort Mojave was like behind on a project, and then this heavy rain came, and then like there was a flood. So it's like, yeah, that'll be the crap that happens when we go out there.
You are definitely the jinx, bringing in the East Coast weather.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't mind bringing some rain, but I'm not bringing the Maryland mentality.
Yeah. Oh,
So I'm not one of them people that move somewhere and then say I want it to be like where I left. I don't want that. I don't want anything to do with that.
I hate to be the one in the show that always has to retreat to the food, but I'm more jealous of the first. You guys have to literally go to your new neighborhood and start to figure out what is your new Chinese food place. What is your new go-to pizza
So
shop? Like, you've had a
I'm,
chance to navigate over the
mhm,
years in Maryland. Now everything's a first. Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
exciting.
it is. And like when we were out there, we found a great Thai place. We
Okay.
found a great burger joint. We found
Okay.
the best place to get French fries. And that was in one weekend. So there is a lot of awesomeness out there. In and Out Burger, we
Oh,
don't have
yeah.
that. Like all those experiences. Yeah, it's going to be,
And it
kids in a candy
changes.
store.
It changes a little bit. Like, I think
Yeah,
here on the East Coast, we have a lot of Philadelphia cheesesteak everything.
yeah,
There's this, and out there, it was, what were we getting? Oh, burrito on everything. Like,
yeah,
different. This
yeah.
place has a burrito this big, and they were stuffing everything in burritos. Again, food. Oh, you get to go out there and
Yeah.
snipe out all the cool spots, and everything's a first right now. Um, you're not gonna know the shortcuts to the little spot. It's gonna take time to
Yeah,
navigate
yeah,
certain things.
yeah.
That first Friday night, you get stuck in traffic. "Oh, crap, I didn't know I was supposed to avoid this
Traffic,
road."
traffic. There's no traffic.
It can't be.
I'm more worried about how far can I go in my Baja Bug on one tank of fuel. like like how far is that?
Right? And getting out there,
Yeah. And I
oh,
don't need a lawnmower. I don't need a snowblower. I don't need any of those things.
I think even the nighttime sky is gonna be a different experience. You're gonna
Oh,
see
yeah.
so
It's
many
beautiful.
more
It's
stars
so
and
beautiful.
get
Yeah.
some of that pollution and light pollution away.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
super excited for you all.
Yep.
Um, so
All right, brother.
fantastic. We went
Yep.
farther and longer than we meant,
Yep.
but all well done. Imagine this. You imagine that is the place to be right away. Addie's RC has been keeping this stuff updated, uh, and that's great. Following along there. The last question, I know I don't want to deep dive in this, but the YouMagine stuff, can we come to 2.4 Design to or, Eddie's RC to buy the panels from YouMagine? Is it the same
No.
formula? No. Okay.
You so the designer doesn't have a commercial account like you would find with
That was
Night
the difference.
Customs, but stay tuned on that
Okay.
because there's there's questions out there on
This
how they
has
should.
to be coming up. This has
Yeah,
to be
there's
a thing.
questions, right?
Yeah.
How I know how
Honorably.
much I know how much this would cost if I printed it for a client.
Okay.
So how does that happen is one of the questions that YouMagine actually asked me. So working with them maybe in the future, as we progress, because I've known Chris for a long time, and hopefully he watches this. I'm going to send him a link. Maybe we'll get there, and we'll figure out a right way, best way to do that with quality assurances.
Okay. I
So
knew
yeah,
this is gonna
good
be
question.
coming up. People are going to be asking you
Yeah,
more and
yeah,
more.
yeah.
I
Not
don't have
everybody
the
has a
printer.
printer.
Yeah.
And everybody wants this. So
How do we
they're,
solve it?
how do we solve that problem? How do we get
And
it in their hands too?
your eyes have been opened as you became the Knight's
Yeah.
authorized printer. We had no idea how many people were looking for that to be filled. But
Mhm.
I just always walked around assuming everyone and their grandmother already had a printer or two. I just didn't even think that this was a
Yeah.
box that needed to be checked. But unfortunately, or fortunately, it is. There are still plenty
Yeah.
of people deathly afraid of opening it up and trying
Yeah.
to do this on
Yeah.
their own. So,
I mean, it's a possibility, right? You could,
yeah,
if you didn't, if you didn't have a printer and you wanted one of these, I would tell you, hey, go buy the file,
and
send
then
me
I'll,
the email that you bought
yep,
the file, the receipt,
yep,
and I'll print it for you.
it's simple.
Like, because you're
You
meeting the
paid the
requirement,
designer.
and I'm a service to turn it digital into physical, and then I get to charge whatever I feel is appropriate for my time and product. Um, but you still own it. You still own the file. So if you one day become a printer and you need a replacement part, you can just
Don't need
print
to
it.
buy it again. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, there's a legal and a honorable way of handling this,
yes.
and that is to do it above order and play by the rules right now. So the rules are in flux, and we'll wait to see how it pans out.
Yep.
Awesome. In the meantime, for the people with the printer, get over to YouMagine, get started using up those
Well,
boxes in the bin and see. I think you dared them very well. I dare you people to dig through your parts bins and see what
yep.
you can create. Honestly, two of my most favorite trucks that I have were those Frankenstein leftover parts.
Hmm.
Didn't cost a darn thing.
Yep.
Though, they turn out you would never think it. You can
Yeah.
turn around and spend thousands of dollars, investing in something and be
Yeah.
just as happy with the leftover misfit bin.
Yep.
Uh, so fantastic. All right, people, let us fold ourselves out of here. Jeremy, any parting words? Tell them where to find you, like, comment, all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
The Addies, my Etsy page is on vacation mode because I'm
Okay.
moving. I'll open it up next week when I'm able to ship again. But yep, and YouTube, here on YouTube. If you're not on my channel, you're on the Rad channel. Go subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you around, and we'll see you tonight.
Perfect. Yes, that's the deal. We'll pause until later tonight. See you there. Fantastic. Thank you, people. We'll send
Thanks.
them out of here with the transition show.